talking about something really important that is starting to become a pandemic all around the world. Solitude is something that's natural that happens when we become more advanced. And what's happening right now, especially in places around the world, is we're seeing that there's a commonality of what's going on with these two things. About 60% of threads online these days are talking about either anxiety or edging out to depression. And young folks, especially, are sharing raw stories of social fears, things like, feeling really overwhelmed when they're on the MRT or having lots of job interviews that they have to go to, or just getting to the point of avoiding going out in general. And they wake up with physical symptoms of saying like, oh, I have tightness in my chest, or they have a shortness of breath, or just simply isn't just something that they're able to deal with is the pressure of the society that they're in. And this can do with lots of things like exam pressure or expectations from their family or even from their, saving their face in the cultural sense. And, of course, not to mention things from work, like from your boss. So in USA, we call this hustle anxiety, grinding through all the things that they want to do, achieving the things that you want to achieve, having that side hustle kind of mentality, meaning that we're constantly thinking about all these alternative ways of making more money or increasing our success so that we have less sense of FOMO or the fear of missing out. But here in Taiwan, it hits a little bit different. There's a blend of burnout and also quiet societal whispers of things of like doom scrolling, and they are looking for a connection. Most people here, everywhere in the world, we're looking for a connection. And so for us, we're trying to get into the heavy stuff here. And, if you really want to connect on trying to figure out what are the triggers that you're experiencing in your work, societal stuff, or family, you can DM me directly on Taiwanica podcast on Instagram, and you can let me know what are the things that you are experiencing. We can kind of make a general sense and vote there. So, okay, enough heavy stuff. Let's flip into actually the fixes of these things. So, some of the quick wins of taking care of things like anxiety is to understand what it is. And for those who are familiar with Dcard, the place where you can look at forums of people talking about things that are happening in Taiwan specifically, is there's a lot of panic that people are having around the things I just mentioned, but also a lot of solutions that have been presented there that help bring peace of mind. One of those that was really an eye catcher for me was breathing hacks. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, and you can check that out in the last one about burnout, I talk about things similar to this, but one of the things about breath techniques that's really important to understand is anything that you do with your breath can definitely have an impact not only on your physical body, but also on your mentality, because you got to understand oxygen, your breath, is happening to both of these places at once. So one particular method that I thought was really interesting in there was called the 4-7-8 technique. And we're going to do this together really quick just to see how it feels. So just, make sure you get comfy, and we'll do it right now. What we're going to do is we're going to inhale through our nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, and then exhale out of your mouth for 8 seconds. I'll guide you through this. And when we do this, you'll notice that you have a reset on your racing mind. So if you feel like right now you're thinking a lot, definitely try this out. Here we go. So the first, breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold it the best you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now exhale out of your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel? You might notice a slight difference. I usually recommend doing an activity like breathing at least 3 times if you're ever going to do it. you'll find that after 3 or more, that the impact is significant enough that you'll start to see a difference. So one thing I want to say is something in Chinese here, and that is 你要知道你在改你的想法或者是你的感觉的时候，你要先了解第一个问题不是你，就是你在外面的环境会让你觉得不舒服的时候，要了解是从哪里来的，那个痛点或者是压力，是在哪里来的。如果你知道是从哪里来的话，你可以比较快就是有压力的出口。So, as I'm saying here is if you know the source of your problem, then it's so much easier for you to release the problem, especially when you're doing a breathing technique. You can just simply focus in your mind very easily on that spot. If it's something your boss said, or it's something that happened at home, or maybe you were getting stressed about exams. If you focus on that stress while breathing, your mind will have a much easier time letting it go. So something to just try a few times and see what happens to you. Okay, another great tip that I found while looking at Dcard was simply blending some signature yoga, like what we talk about here and do at our yoga events. One of the classic ones that works as an absolute gem for helping you become calmer is doing what's called the alternate nostril breathing technique. This is something that I personally do every single day. And it's also known as the yoga for joy because it really does bring a sense of joy inside of your system after you do it quite a few times. And it's been known for lots of things. One of the things that I've noticed specifically in Taiwan when I do it is that even though there's pollution outside, I mean, I live in Taichung, and so the pollution here can get a little bit intense sometimes during the weekdays. And so in those kind of moments, I notice that I sneeze way less if I do this breathing exercise. And also, I don't have any coughing problems either. I think it's because just naturally my nostrils or my nose is so much more open that it makes it easier for me to breathe much deeper and easier. So I'm going to demonstrate what that is by explaining it out loud. And for those who are able to watch the video, and if you're interested in watching the videos that we produce, you can check those out on buymeacoffee.com/Taiwanica. You don't have to subscribe or anything. If you want to, you can, but all the videos that we post up there do not require a subscription. So you can check that out. But for us who are just listening, it's very simple. All you need to do is put your right hand in front of your nose, and then you will cover the right side of your nose with your thumb or your 大拇指, for those who are learning in Chinese. And you cover that, and then you blow out your left side of your nose. And then you breathe in the left side. When you finally finish breathing on the left side, you put your pinky and your ring finger, or your 小指 and 无名指, and you put that on the left side, and you blow out on the right. And you breathe in on the right. And then again, you block it with your thumb, 大拇指, and blow out on the left. You just kind of go back and forth doing that. And if you do that for I do it for about 6 minutes a day. On Dcard, they suggest 5. So, 5, 6 minutes. You'll start to notice that it's very easy for you to calm down. One of the users on Dcard said this: from daily panic attacks to facing crowds to being at peace, it's all thanks to this simple hack. So, very easy to do. I recommend you give it a try. I've been using it for over a year now, and my life has been completely different thanks to just this one exercise. So definitely check it out. And by the way, if you want to know what the name of that exercise is called, its original name is Sukha Kriya. But most people, if you look at it up these days, you're going to find it as alternate nostril breathing. alternate nostril breathing. Okay. So by now, you've already tried one of the exercises, and also we explored another one. So you're probably noticing a little bit more calm. Good for you. That's the whole point of this conversation today. But the main thing is also to explore what really is the difference between anxiety and depression, because they have a lot of similar symptoms. And so people, when they're looking at trying to take care of their problems in their life, they might get misdiagnosed for something that their doctor may say, because you believe that it's something, and so the doctor's trying to help you with that problem. But the thing about these two things is that it's really hard to examine directly unless you have, say, for example, a therapist that is very experienced with these kind of things and able to tell you, oh, this is exactly what it is. And they know based on their experience. And I am not a therapist. I am someone who works in mindset coaching. If you really think it's a good idea for you to do therapy to really find out which one are you, I would definitely recommend that. In Taiwan now, the Taiwanese government has promoted that if you are interested in exploring therapy, they are offering your first 3 individual therapy sessions for free, and included in your Taiwanese health insurance. So if you have a Taiwanese health insurance card, I would recommend that you go and try to find a therapist to assist you in this. But for those who are not in an extreme case of anxiety or depression, or are just curious about learning more about these two things, stay tuned to what I'm about to say here. So one of the things that we want to clearly see, first of all, is depression. Depression is something that hits on a very deep level and lasts for a long period of time. And from a point of view that is more focused on the feeling of it and also the significance of depression, is that when you go into this state, it feels like there is no way out. There's no way out. So if you're thinking that life is just like this, and I don't know what to do, and I can't think of any clear solutions or ways out of the same problem that I keep repeating, then that would be more towards depression than anxiety, because anxiety is quite the opposite. When you're thinking about something in anxiety, lots of different things come up in your head where you're starting to panic and think, oh, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? And that's when you're getting into this point of just constantly thinking about different methods, but still not taking action. So that's really more towards anxiety, whereas depression is like, I'm stuck and I feel like this is just who I am. So a little bit deeper into the depression, I heard a quote a long time ago from one of my favorite actors of all time, Jim Carrey, who had a spiritual guy tell him when he was depressed, that was, depression is just another word for deep rest. Because if you look at depression, it sounds like deep rest. And what does that mean? So deep, like thinking about the depth of something, and then rest is that need for feeling calm, that need for relaxing. And if you're getting into a sense of depression, that means something about your current personality or character or 个性, right, is your being a certain way that is no longer matching the way that you really want to be. Okay, so it's a little bit deep, but the main idea here is simply currently you're doing something in your life that you always do, or you do it on a regular basis, and you're not feeling good about doing that thing. You do it every day, or you do it almost every day, and for some reason, even though you do it every day, something inside of you is saying, I'm depressed. So depression is more about a self-reflection exercise of seeing what are the things that I'm currently doing in my life that are no longer serving me. No longer serving me. And when you start to recognize those, you'll be able to find more and more a way to get out of the problems that are rolling in your head. Whereas with anxiety, anxiety is when your nervousness or even your nervous system is starting to flare up. You're starting to get really, really wired on what's going on in that current moment. And in the USA, we've normalized therapy like grabbing a coffee. Okay, so having a coffee and therapy are becoming almost identical. Before, we thought therapy was a really negative thing, and we did some bad points of view about it, like stigmatizing it. Oh man, you go to therapy? Oh man, you're a weirdo. And nowadays, everyone's been very open about saying, yeah, I had my therapy session today and I feel much better. It's something that our culture has started to open up more and more about. And I'm starting to see in Taiwan that it's starting at the very beginning to make that move. And for people who are on Dcard, where I'm getting most of my resources today, a lot of people are saying, how can I start this? Because it's not something that people are naturally aware of yet, because it's just at the beginning. So to really help you guys who are listening today, if you want to know how to get more information on getting into therapy, you can on your phone just type in 1925 or 1925, and then they will have a hotline where you can contact people for support and find out some more effective, collective, and understanding information to guide you through this. Or you can just simply look up your local clinic that's nearby and ask them, hey, do you provide the 3 free therapy sessions that health insurance provides? And if they do, then that's a good place to start. Okay, so let's dive into how we can build a support team for you, because understanding depression and understanding anxiety is, of course, a great first step. And then taking action on yourself, like doing breathing techniques, will assist you in the meantime. And sometimes it might even help you break the anxiety or even be aware of what's going on with your depression. But at the same time, these two things are deeply rooted to a certain behavior or a xingwei, a little habit that you have, or a 坏习惯. Okay, so this is not about you. Okay, we got to understand, this is not you that's the problem. You're never the problem. It's just something that you are doing that's causing the problem. Okay, it's kind of like, if I were to think about me and I was trying to fix a car, and there's, electricity in the car, and the battery on there says, don't touch with your hand unless you're wearing a glove. And then I say, oh, I'm just going to touch it anyways. And I do it. Even though there's a sign that clearly says, do not touch it because there's electricity, and I keep doing it, well, there's a sign that tells me to probably stop. But unfortunately for most of us, when it comes to depression and anxiety, the signs that we need are inward, and we're not giving ourselves a lot of time to look inward for those signs. So breathing techniques are really helpful for you to start exploring that. If you really want to explore even more of that, you got to understand that it takes time and guidance. And that's something that we offer in our coaching program. So if you're interested in learning more about that, and also learning more about how to release things like stress, definitely check out the links in the description below. But for now, let's talk about building a support team, because that's really all that you need after you start setting these things up. It's a group of people who have walked the walk, like you have, as we say in English, walk the walk. They know what you've gone through. They've been there before, and they're willing to help you through it. Because right now, Dcard is a really great place to not only share how you feel, it's also a place that more and more people are starting to use to create deep chats. So I think it's a great place for you to start exploring what is going on with you inside of Dcard. But I wouldn't only recommend staying in Dcard if you are continuing to have an issue with your problem, or you experience, for example, a user who is not being supportive of your issue. Then that's a sign that you need to find more real life connections. Because one of the biggest things that's happening in our digital world these days is that we're losing more and more real life connections. And that means the isolation or the loneliness is getting stronger and stronger. So to avoid getting stuck in these kind of ways, one of the things I would simply say is just create a circle for yourself. There are lots of different circles out there. I mean, if you are a Taiwanese listener and you're doing this in English, you have to understand your language ability is already incredible. And so there are some wonderful language groups that I would recommend. One of them, definitely on the top of my head, would be polyglot.tw. That's POLYGLOT.TW. That's a wonderful group that's all across Taiwan, not just in Taichung, that has language exchange groups for all different kinds of languages, and you can meet people of all different walks of life there. That's done by my friend. He's great, and I would recommend that you definitely check it out. They have Facebook groups as well. So definitely go from a solo struggle to a squad strength. That's the most important thing here. We got to work together as a team, and you can definitely count on us at Taiwanica to also help you as well. So if you have any questions, you can connect with us as well anytime on our Instagram. So there it is. We've unpacked the anxiety wave and the depression commonalities that we see, but also game-changing hacks that help you load up your toolkit to keep on practicing these kind of things. If you're interested in learning more about this kind of stuff, know that we are always here to support you. You are never flying solo in this, especially when you are here with the Taiwanica team. We have a whole bunch of people who are in the same shoes as you, and we would be happy to talk to you more. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. If you really enjoyed it, then if you can be one of the very few people who can give us a 5-star review and even tell us about what you liked about the podcast, that would be great if you could do that in the place where you're listening. 谢谢大家。如果你真的很喜欢今天的 podcast 的话，请你们给我们5颗星。这个会让更多人越来越了解台湾要给什么的资料，让他们的生活越来越顺利。感谢。